Good morning, Africa. How are you today? We are yet back with another episode of the ULEAD Africa check in, the Africa Youth Pulse, and we are happy to join you. As always, my name is Sebastian, Segawa Ivan Sebastian, and I am the ESC Youth Ambassador to Uganda. I see Yusuf is asking, why are you walking? I think when Clem gets to introducing herself, she will tell us why she is walking. And we can see Ivan Atuyambe, the founder and director of the ULEAD program. He's tuning in from Arusha, Tanzania. It's nice to have you, Ivan. I am Sebastian, like I said, and I am tuning in from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. I will tell you briefly why I am in Dar es Salaam. Yet the other day I was in Kampala, but before then, we have Clem with us today in the studio. Clem, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us where you are?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I am Klee. So first to answer Muhammad, I was walking to a quiet. I was in a noisy place. I was walking to a quiet. Thank you. I am tuning from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, but I'm originally from Rwanda. And I'll beat Ivan to it. I am here to participate in the East African Peace and Security organized by the East African secretaries. It is a pleasure with all of you this morning.
Right. Thank you so much, Clem. And we see Yusuf has responded, not in complaint this time, but telling us he's tuning in from Somaliland. Nice to hear from you, Yusuf. We have more people coming on. Deng Dong request a lot of videos needed to be downloaded. Okay. And Ivan is happy to have Africa here. But before we go into today's check-in, we also have Franklin. Franklin, how is your morning and where are you?
I'm enjoying the couch. I'm working from home. Yeah, it's warmer in Arusha. I hear people in Dar es Salaam, people in Mozambique, everywhere. Yeah, nice to tune in this morning from Arusha, Tanzania, from the comfort of my living room.
Well, you don't seem to mind the new normal that was brought in by the pandemic. The concept of working from home is very fresh to our ears. and
Yeah, you're just near the kitchen.
it doesn't seem like it encourages so much work. And then we see you, Albert, tuning in all the way from Beira, Mozambique. It is nice to have you on board. We have the East African Community Youth Ambassador from Kenya, Ambassador Elias. He's in the studios. If you could be kind to turn on your video, because yesterday we had immense participation and viewership from Kenya. I don't think they will be happy not seeing you. But tell us, how is your morning and where are you in Kenya? Elias?
Can you see me, Sepa?
Yes, we see you.
Yeah, morning, Africa. My name is Elias Odiambo. Yes, you can Kenya. Tuning in from Nairobi. And Nairobi today is not that.
Okay, it is nice to hear from you, Elias. And now I see we have Gerald from Malawi. All right. So today, I just want to know, I've heard that Arusha is warm. That is very unlike Arusha as we know it. Yesterday, Franklin was attesting to the fact that Arusha was ice cold, and is suddenly telling us it is warm. Today we need to investigate how quick weather changes in Arusha. And Yusuf is saying, as an African youth, we need to discuss natural resources in Africa. that what we need to talk about today. So Yusuf is challenging us to discuss natural resources. I think we are very happy to, but in a bit, because today we first need to hear, for example, Clem is down in Dar es Salaam for a meeting organized by the EAC. We need to know how the meeting is going so far, which countries are represented, and how many young people are at that meeting. Clem, do you care to fill us in? But
Absolutely.
before you come in, I need to
Mhm.
also recognize Emalot Alan David joining in from Kampala. For those who don't know David, he is the lead of the African Youth Charter Hustlers from the African Union under the Office of the Youth Envoy. We see you, David. We are happy that you're part of this check-in. Clem, talk to us.
Thank you again, Seba. Meeting happening in Dar es Salaam are actually a series of work on peace and security. Before that, the East African Community Secretariat had hosted a meeting, an experts meeting on creating a youth peace and security framework. And these workshops come as a training, as a attention to the creation of the now to bring it to the youth and make it implementable. So the Secretariat is hosting youth from all 6 partner states, Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, and the Republic of South Sudan, and as well as Burundi. This particular week, the Secretariat is hosting 2 youth per country and representatives from the ministries in charge of East African community in partner states. The next week, the Secretariat will host trainings as an extension to the Peace and Security Workshop and will be attended by 3 youth representatives per country. So far, I'll just give you a little bit of what has been discussed this morning in the meeting, or so far. We have been examining preventive mechanisms, especially early warning in case of conflict, especially the role of youth into preventive mechanisms around peace and security in the region. I'm not sure if Plus today wants to take our conversation down that path, or if we would definitely be happy to keep the conversation going.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that we need to first of all appreciate the East African Community Secretariat for its attempt in mainstreaming young people, mostly in a topic like peace and security, because as majority of the population of the EAC being young people, it is important that the determinants of almost all sectors of the community have this crucial information about peace and security, so that we can have a stable and peaceful community. Franklin, apart from you being in close quarters with your kitchen and threatening your job security, then what is happening in Arusha? Any tea for us?
Yeah, great. Arusha is wonderful. As you may know, Arusha is the headquarters of the East African Community, the Geneva of Africa, as they say. So there's a lot happening, of course. We finished yesterday's wonderful AFCFTA Fireside Chat in collaboration with UNDP Africa and a host of youth-led organizations across the continent. So right now we are just settling into other activities on the AFCFTA and also looking forward to the ULEAD Africa Summit 2021 happening in November. And of course, the East African Community Youth Ambassadors platform also have a number of activities lined up. So yeah, it's always sizzling in Arusha.
All right, it is nice to hear that. And then Fred, we recognize your presence joining us all the way from Nairobi. We also have Blessed Paul tuned in from Nakuru, Kenya. We do have Jude from Bamenda, Cameroon. And then we do have Royalty joining into Mahad, King Chibuka, live from Kampala, Uganda. Everyone is very welcome to the show. And today, Franklin, before we move on to address some of the conversations that young people across the region want to hear, I want us to first throw back a little bit, because yesterday was quite an interesting day. I know that you are largely invested in socials, but the numbers I managed to see myself were a little north of 600 participants, direct
Yeah.
live participants of the fireside chat. What did you make of the show from your end?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I came to see different young people from different places. Just like I'm seeing places in Africa I didn't know about their cities. Like Chi Jude is talking about Bamenda, Cameroon. Bamenda, Cameroon. Yeah, you see? Yeah, so we actually need to find a way of bringing them into the show so that they can tell us more about what's happening on the continent. But about yesterday, the question you asked, it was wonderful hearing from the young entrepreneurs. They shared practical advice. There was Edith Njage from Ariel for Africa. There was Adebola. There was Tamara. There was Isra. There were Abedin. There was Abedin. All of them with wonderful practical stories as to what they're faced trading on the continent, in the countries, and across borders. And also we had policymakers. We had Peter Joy, who is the Secretary General's advisor at the AFCFTA Secretariat, gave wonderful insights. And also, of course, we had Ms. Huna Yakonwa, the Assistant Secretary General of UNDP, and Ivan Atuyambe, the ULEAD Africa founder and director, Astria Fataki. I cannot summarize what happened yesterday. Of course, the live videos are there, but what we know is that there are policy asks and action points which emanated from yesterday's fireside chat, which definitely will inform action moving forward.
Thank you so much, Franklin, for that brief about yesterday. And today, the ULEAD social media has already published that we shall be sharing some memorable quotes from the speakers yesterday. Of course, for those of you who missed the show, you can always visit this Facebook page, this Twitter page that you are streaming from, and even our YouTube page, which is ULEAD Africa, and you can have a rewatch of the show. But even for those who will not manage to have a rewatch, we are going to ensure that we get you the quotes that we felt young people need to see. But to recognize some people, and this is exciting, Angie, Sarah. I see you, Sarah. Sarah and I went to the same high school. And
Oh,
Angie,
wow.
in Kampala. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
We need to bring her into the show to tell us some secrets.
Oh yeah, I know. Your intentions, Sarah, stay as audience. But sure, we are going to have some of you join us in studio here. As always, we shall at some point share the link in the comments. Thomas is tuning in. Ooh, Bundu Youth Lead Ambassador to Liberia. Nice to hear from you, Thomas. We shall need to have Thomas on the show sometime, probably later today. We have someone from Mogadishu, Somalia. Mohammed, please tell us how Somalia is doing. We would love to hear about that. And then we have Gerald. Gerald is Ugandan, but tuning in all the way from the UAE in Qatar. Gerald
has already, since he has already gone ahead for the World Cup in Qatar.
Oh yes,
Gerald.
World Cup is coming on. And Maje DC joining from Abuja, Nigeria. Comrade Idisi Majesty, National Director of the Integration and Partnership, the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Mr. Director, we are happy to hear from you. I think it is right now that I should share the link to these participants, some of them to join us and answer these pertinent questions we are having today. And of course, today, one of our audience members has already set us on a path of what we should discuss. And let me see if I can be, if I can be able to retrieve his comment. Yusuf recommended that we discuss natural resources in Africa. And speaking of natural resources, coming from East Africa, I need to say that East Africa is verifying the king of natural resources in this continent to join the region. So it is going to be quite exciting when we have the DRC as part of the East African community. Of course, the DRC mans about 100 million citizens. I think numbers place the youth to about 70 million of those. So it will be exciting as a regional economic community to have more of young people join us, because there is always power in numbers when these numbers are tipped right. And the intention of the Youth Ambassadors Platform and the ULEAD Africa program is to ensure that youth all over Africa have a productive output to this region. Going on, let me just recognize a few people joining the show briefly before we go into more conversations for people here on the studio. Fila coming in from Eswatini, Swaziland. Fila, how is Eswatini? We recently heard of the unrest that were there, and very shocking videos were coming in from there of how young people were being battered. We need to know whether the situation is stabilized now, and whether the great kingdom of Eswatini is safer now. And Franklin, conversation for you here. Someone is commenting. David is saying that yesterday's fireside chat was really engaging. Many amazing thoughts were shared, and the African Youth Charter hustlers are ready to be part of ULEAD's beautiful suggestions to implement the AFCFTA.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes. We appreciate and recognize the commitment of the hustlers, and for all youth organizations out there. And this, I think, also goes directly to the National Director of the Nigerian Youth Council, that we need commitment from youth organizations and youth leadership towards effecting the AFCFTA. But now, Franklin, there is something very interesting. Before we talk natural resources, before we talk what is happening across Africa, Clemence and I had a conversation, and we were marveling about the amazement we talked about yesterday of space tourism. And I thought, I did some homework when you guided me that these billionaires just go up there for a couple of minutes. And I just want to pick Clem's thoughts. Clem, if you had a few $1 billion in the middle of the pandemic, how would you spend them?
That's a very tricky question. It's one thing to have billions of dollars. It's another thing to have them in the middle of a pandemic. And I really think people have different priorities. Probably for me, it would definitely not be tourism, And also, since we're talking about natural resources, coming from a country that doesn't have natural resources like that, and especially relying on, people's intellect and skills as, resources to build the country. I don't think with my $1 billion, I would be going to space, which is not bad, to be honest. But I think where I'm coming from, my priorities would definitely be different. I'm really being honest here. My priorities would definitely be different. But to be honest, space tourism is something I aspire to. It's so fascinating. The only problem I have with it is it doesn't last that long. Most of the time, ends traveling to Mars, and that you only see the planet for like a glimpse of a few seconds. But as things evolve and technology grows, then probably it would be better in the future. However, my $1 billion will not be spent going to the moon or Mars. Definitely not.
All right. Hey, Lely is telling us that it's amazing. Thank you for this. You're most welcome. Colleagues following us live, we have shared a link on the chat box. It says Studio Restream. If you want to be part of this chat box, just follow that link, and I'll be able to have you part of the show. But for now, to quench Clem's thirst for tourism in space, I will be sharing YouTube links. I mean, you know what they say: when you see one view, you have seen them all of this earth. So I am going to be saving you a couple of billions and sending you live footage from the space above us. Otherwise, today, let us talk about natural resources. We have always been arguing about the endowment of this African continent and how we have almost everything, yet we are always importing byproducts. That, for example, when you go to West Africa, they can ably brag that they have the cocoa, right? Yet, I think West Africa is arguably one of the biggest inputs of chocolate in Africa, which is ironic. When you come to East Africa, brag about brag about okay. Unfortunately, Franklin had to drop, and we have the thank you so much for joining us. We have a guest here. I will let him introduce himself. I know who he is, but I will let him introduce himself and tell us where he's tuning in from. Yes, director.
Hey, how are you to everyone?
We are good. We
Hello.
are good.
Hello, how are you to everyone? I am Baraka Idi. I am currently working with the African Union, that is AUIVC program. So when it comes to youth, that's my passion. That's my passion. That's where we believe that our continent, if you look at the much of the labor resource, the human resource is almost youth. So it is either our turn, and it is either we're supposed to tackle something, we're supposed to propel something to make African great. Africa was great, and Africa is still great. When we talk about the resources, sorry, the moderator, to cut you short. I know we are going to go further about this. When you talk about the resources in Africa, especially us in East Africa, I'm coming from Uganda. You have already seen my display. When you're coming, when I talk about Uganda, we have a lot of resources, be it uh, fish, from fish, waters. I think us being a landlocked country, we have a lot of resources. For example, the waters, the fish, but are they fully utilized to meet the needs of people, especially the youth? How are these youth benefiting from the lakes? You will see that there is a very big difference and a gap on how these resources are helping African youth. You talked about Congo. We all know that Congo contribute a lot to minerals, especially those used to make mobile phones. Look at the forests in Congo. How many timbers and logs are exported on a daily basis to China, Europe, and other continents? But sincerely speaking, what are people benefiting in Congo? Are we seeing a rapid increase in diseases in Congo, or are we seeing a social transformation in Congo? So meaning that either as the youth, we are not doing something to transform our societies. You understand? You talked about West Africa. I think all of you have been following there is what we, for example, let me talk about Ghana. Ghana, they are very rich in gold. Everyone knows that. It was a gold coast in Africa. But are you seeing how Chinese are mismanaging the green cover? The forests are being deforested in a very bad way. Illegal mining. The nature is being destroyed. The climate is being destroyed in Africa. They are destroying our backroots. Societies which were depending on farming as their main source of income. People cannot do farming nowadays. Look at the water. Yeah, of course, if there is illegal mining, we all know the process of illegal mining. We are aware as per the activities that destroy the climate and the environment taking place on the ground. Imagine someone deep in the village, at the end of the village, accessing water from the river to feed the cows, or else used to be used in domestic ways. And the water is contaminated. Imagine. So I think this is a good platform that we youth we can take either through policy,
Mhm.
advocates, dialogues. We shall make Africa great again. For that, I bet we shall make Africa great again. Let's join hands together, and I plead to all over youth groups across Africa. Let's join hands together. Let's share the information. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ed. Before we lose you, I first of all want you to tell us the AUVC in full, so that the young people out there.
Okay. AUYVC in food is African Union Youth Volunteer Corps. This is one of the programs. Okay, African Union Youth Volunteer Corps. This is one of the continental program implemented by African Union to harness youth in terms of their resources based on their specialization in academics. So this program they recruit. Actually, it is on a volunteer basis. So on year basis, they recruit youth based on their specialization from across Africa and diaspora to serve their continent based on their specialization. For example, if you are from Kenya, so when you apply, you will be deployed in any other country rather than your mother country. Are you seeing the spirit of Pan-Africanism? We are creating a new trend of those guys of Kwame Nkrumah. Are you seeing a trend of new breed of young African leaders?
I hear
So,
you. I hear
so
you.
these are some of the programs established by the African Youth Commission to harness and empower the African youth. Of course, there are many continental instruments. We have the Youth Education Action Plan, the Morocco Decision, and also this is backed by respective state policies, mandates, and institutions to bring up young African leaders, especially the youth.
Mhm. Well,
So,
I need to tell you, Ed, that the purpose of this check-in is to do that, to give young people opportunities that are present out there and are known to a few. Yet these are opportunities are intended to benefit everyone else. So, for example, we shall be hosting you again for you to give us a comprehensive of how does one become an AU volunteer corps member, because that's a good opportunity if someone needs to go and exercise their Pan-Africanism, their passion for the growth of this continent in another country. Of course, that comes with a lot of growth, a lot of experience, and a lot of shared learning. And we think that that is beneficial to the young people of Africa and specifically to our ardent followers. But for now, let me skip back to Tanzania. We have a member of the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform. Hans, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. Please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you're tuning in from, and the situation there before we go on.
Okay, my name is Hans Junior. I'm a member of East
Just
Africa.
wait a moment. Hans, just wait a moment. I need to also say that I have kept Lely's comment pinned where it says, please keep the issue of Swaziland on your agenda. There is a lot that young people across Africa can do to stand in solidarity with our people in Swaziland. I am keeping it pinned because Clemence earlier told us that the event her and I are attending in Dar es Salaam is one that is trying to mainstream young people in peace and security and help them understand the early warning indicators and how they can contribute to stability. And we think that it is important that the case of Swaziland is discussed. And as young people, I want to say that from ULEAD and the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform, we stand in solidarity with the young people of Swaziland. And we hope that you can have the great country of Swaziland peaceful again. Hans, over to you.
Okay, my name is Hans Junior. I'm from Tanzania, a member of East African Youth Ambassadors Platform, and currently I'm a Canadian at Reliance Group Limited.
Great. Where are you tuning in from, Hans, and what is the situation there?
The situation is somewhat calm because everything now it's at stable environment and the progress is still good, and hopefully with time everything will become always stable.
All right. I also need to say that coming from a country that has endured a lockdown for over a year, it is refreshing to come to Tanzania. I think we shall sometime need to also assess the responses that our individual countries have had towards the pandemic and their effects. And probably as young people, it is always nice to account. We shall weigh the cost and benefit analysis therein. But sure. So Hans, I know that in Tanzania, you young people have been complaining about the new policy that is increasing charges on on mobile transactions. What is your view on that? And I see you, Dennis, tuning in from all the way in Juba, South Sudan. Thank you for joining us. Hans, back to you.
Okay, thank you. About the new charges, since were introduced by the Ministry of Finance, these charges were aiming that they are called the patriotism charges, which they were aiming at getting a lot of cash, which can be helping to finance the projects which are run by the government, since they want to run the projects in tenant, the funds which are collected from the individual members. But since though it has bring a big of challenge, a big discussion and debate, since the MPs whom they implemented it, their salaries are not taxed, their allowances are not taxed. So the big burden is it's the individual minor people. So it's still a challenge up to now, since even the mobile transactions, the mobile companies now they are bringing their complaint to the government, since there is no charges, no people whom they're taking their funds to the, because the mobile transfers now, someone sees like, if I can take a fare of 5,000 to and from, it becomes 10,000. Want to transact 1 million, it is 31,000. So I bet use 10,000 to go and come. I take that money manually. So, and also in the other part, it is on the part of security. It also reduces security, because now people they will start traveling with money, and to travel with money means the security part is slow, because if there is a bank using a bank, majority of people do not have access to the bank. Only few which are in the urban areas they use banks, but those who are majority whom they are in the rural areas, they don't have access to the banks. So that also brings a challenge to the transfers and the country. So still, and also the minister who is having who has taken the charge. Still, for my side, I see is somehow ignorant, since he doesn't want to listen to the people. So even said, I don't know, joking, or say, if you can't live with it, you can go to Burundi, which in one side it's saying that it's saying that you can go to the neighboring country. Why should you go to the neighboring country? While they saying that, so they were aiming that to scrutinize and push Tanzanians a way that they can feel that pinch, since also it brings some riots, but sometimes it may be stable if because they are saying that they'll revise the charges again, and after revising them they'll come up with a new policy.
Thank you so much, Hans. I think that it is important that our leaders learn that inflammatory statements are not the kind that help the population, and sometimes their intentions are good. They are just ill-explained. So it is wiser, in my opinion, to always give an explanation or try to help the population understand than just brushing them off. But I also want to say that being in Dar es Salaam, the meeting I'm attending has a few officials from the Parliament of Tanzania, and I think one of them is the Right Honorable Speaker of the Youth Parliament. I will ensure to have him for tomorrow's check-in, and we borrow his mind on the things that are happening in in the country, specifically this issue. So tomorrow, the young people in Tanzania, you can able to join me because we shall have the Right Honorable Speaker of the Youth Parliament explain to us this decision that was passed and that is largely affecting the bigger population and also the unbanked, who are also mostly the youth. So as you always know that our check-in should never go beyond 30 minutes, but we have never maintained that time rule. But today we shall have to uh, end sooner than we usually do because we have already hit the 30 minutes mark. But tomorrow I encourage people to tune in because we are going to discuss about three things. First, we are going to look out for someone from Eswatini. Hileli, if you could reach out to our inbox if you are keen to be part of the show, or if you could recommend someone. But we shall also use our networks to try and source out someone to join the show, and we discuss the situation of young people down there. We understand what is happening in Southern Africa and in the kingdom. And then Hans, Clem and I will try to speak to the very, very friendly and lovely Right Honorable Speaker of the Youth Parliament. But for now, we unfortunately have to bring this show to an end. And for those of you who have been following, the discipline always is that you tell us your tribe and then you say goodbye to us in your local language. The intention is for us, first of all, to teach other Africans out there our languages, but also to celebrate the diversity that we are as a continent. I am worried now that Eid, who has had a couple of deployments in other regions, might be tongue-tied with the very many languages he can command in all over the continent. But we are happy to hear every language, provided it is not English. Hans, I'll start with you. Say goodbye to us.
Okay, in my local language, the Chaga language, you usually say goodbye by saying Nakwelala.
That's Chaga.
Nakwelala.
All right.
Okay, there you go. Now Clem can already say goodbye in Chaga. Id, we are up to you.
Nakwelala.
Id, tell us.
Okay, wow, that is a lot of culture and diversity. In my language, you know, I'm a Muganda by tribe, so we say Welaba nyo, Welaba.
All right. Clem.
Yeah, Welaba. Wow, this is Africa, culture and diversity. Wow, we are very rich.
I'm learning. Yes. I hope to learn more Western region as well in the Southern region. In Kinyarwanda, I'll say this. I'm going to wish you all an amazing day. So, mugire umunsi mwiza. So, but I think it's
again in Kinyarwanda.
Well,
again in Kinyarwanda, can you repeat again?
Mugire umunsi mwiza.
Mugire umunsi mwiza. Okay.
Mugire umunsi mwiza.
All right. So being in Tanzania right now, I want to celebrate this very beautiful country by bidding all of us farewell in Swahili. Although I have not yet gotten around to understand the phrase that says goodbye in Swahili. Tomorrow, I'll be speaking Swahili to our audience. But for today, thank you so much, everyone that has tuned in from Juba, from Eswatini, from Uganda, from Kenya, from Qatar, from Nigeria. Yes, I think we had Mogadishu, We had Somaliland, Somalia.
Mm.
Thank you everyone who has been part of the show. We had Malawi, we had Mozambique, we had Tanzania. Ivan, thank you so much. Before we close, I will end with one of the quotes. I know that we promised to share them on our social media, but Ivan made a very important quote yesterday during the fireside chats. Of course, more speakers made them, but for Ivan, I will just share one. He says that at ULID Africa, we work to mobilize, connect, and empower young transformative leaders in policy and business spheres. Our Youth in Business and Enterprise branch of work promotes solutions for an enabling policy environment and affirmative action for the ease of doing business for African young entrepreneurs, as well as addressing their individual and firm capacity gaps. And of course, as we all know that the ULID Youth Young Entrepreneurs are chosen as part of they are always part of the ULID Summit. The ULID Summit is an annual summit that happens in Arusha, but because of the coronavirus, we now have it hybrid. Some people are in Arusha, and then we have young people. Initially, it was across East Africa, but as we can see our audiences, now we are broadcasting across Africa so that every young person can be part of this Youth Leadership Summit. As we go on in the year, we shall be explaining to people how you can be part of the ULID Summit and how you can benefit or contribute towards that summit. But as we conclude, I want to say, Angie, Sarah, I see you, and yes, thank you for appreciating the show. And like I said, Angie and I went to the same school, and we are very good friends. I'm glad she's been part of the show. Otherwise, thank you so much. And from us at the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform, from us at the ULID African Program Secretariat, we say thank you. See you tomorrow. When we discuss security in Eswatini, we discuss natural resources across the continent, and we hear from you on what is happening where you are from. For now, cheers, we are out.